It's been 2 weeks since my UV printer showed up. I still haven't gotten ink, but this is the longest I have let a box sit in my studio untouched. It's driving me insane. So you know what? That chair is not a cat scratch toy. Anyway, so you know what? We're gonna unbox this bad boy and we're gonna get things set up so that I've got kind of a safe environment here, because I know that we're working with resin, we're working with UV ink, and while it's designed to have some extractions in place and be a fairly safe environment, I have noticed that users in some of the Facebook group do report quite a bit of a smell. So I'm going to try and create as safe and low odor environment as I can in here with this machine. So that is the plan today. We're going to unbox the printer. We're going to get it set up and ready to go so that once the ink shows up, we can actually get moving and get printing. By the way, if you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Sarah, and this is my studio. This is actually only part of my studio, but that is for a video down the line. Also, if I could take just a moment to say, oh my God, I hit 10,000 subscribers. I cannot believe that happened. This time last year, I was like hoping that I might hit 3,000. I've had so much growth in the past 6 months. It is insane. Thank you so much for your support. You've really helped me make this channel, kind of keep me motivated, wanting to do more projects, and I'm always kind of focused on what you guys would find interesting. In the meantime, let's get that sucker unboxed. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what my plan is here and how to kind of keep things as safe as possible. This is my intended home for the UV printer. What's nice about it being here is that A, it's close to the windows if I want to vent outside, and then it also is next to my X-Tool filter system. I am going to need to print myself a splitter that can handle both the output coming from the X-Tool as well as the UV printer, and that's easy enough to do. I think there's a couple of designs already out there in Maker World that I can grab and pull. For the meantime, let's talk about the plans for the printer. Now, the printer itself, we've talked before about how this is printing UV ink and it's printing a gloss cover, which is essentially sort of a UV resin. UV resin is great once it's cured. When it's in its liquid form, it is a bit on the toxic side. This is why you always want to use gloves when you're handling UV resin, whether you're accidentally handling something that's not quite cured or there's a mess in the machine, or if you're doing things like I do with my enamel pins and I'm coating those with UV resin. You definitely want to be wearing gloves. It is a skin irritant. Also, when handling UV resin, you definitely want to be masking up because it can be an inhalation hazard as well. Now, the EufyMake machine does have a filter and a ventilation system built in it, and there's like a vent in the back, and there's been people who have created vents attached to the machine and then are running that out. The downside is that while that might work if you're working on the small flatbed that's in there, it also has a larger flatbed, which means the doors are going to be open. It's supposed to be sufficient enough to handle it, and some people have air quality monitors and they've not really mentioned any spike in anything like VOCs. My monitor, I'm telling you, if I accidentally use rubbing alcohol nearby, it goes off. If I'm cooking and I'm clear out there, the smells will waft in and the VOC thing on this will go off. So it's pretty sensitive. So that'll be a good way to track it. This one, by the way, is just a simple Amazon one that I have. The air filter that I use in here and will probably move potentially back out to my other space is way bigger than I need, obviously, for this room. It's the Lavoit. They have all sorts of filters in there. I think I have one more specifically for VOCs. But my goal is to actually try and contain more of the UV fumes if possible. The smell can be very irritating for people, and there is always that argument: if you can smell it, is it killing you? Now, again, if the air quality sensor is saying it's not detecting VOCs, you would think you would be okay. But admittedly, there are some smaller particulates that sensors like this aren't going to cover unless you're getting like a very lab specified one, and that ain't in anybody's budget, trust me. It's also going to let me control other things, one of which being humidity. I have a hygrometer that sits next to my little air sensor. I also have one in my 3D printer closet, and as you can see, it's pretty dry in here. It's January, and where I live, January tends to be very dry inside, partly because we're running the heater. UV ink is more of a moisture-loving kind of thing, so being able to try and maintain environments, keeping things wetter, will also help the machine perform in the long run. unfortunately, it's sort of a catch-22 because it's like I have a machine that would prefer things to be on the higher humidity side, but then I have other machines where moisture should be on the lower side. So it really is kind of a containment system. How do I keep some things dry and how do I keep some things wet? And then how do I just try and manage myself? But again, this will help a little bit, I think, with that, being able to try and contain the moisture environment as well as contain temperature, though that's not, I don't think, quite as big of a deal. Ideally, you want to be printing at a reasonable temp. So let's talk a little bit about what I've gotten. So I found a 3D print case. This one is actually, I think, designed for like the A1. So it's pretty big. This one has a slightly higher depth than the actual stand that it's on, but not enough that I'm worried about. We're talking, she's looking for poo. Does anybody else besides me have a cat that's obsessed with the little poo droppings from the Bambu printer? She discovered that one day and it's like the best thing ever. This one is big enough that it provides plenty of space for the UV printer, and I should be able to actually rotate it a little bit so that when I'm running the bigger plate, I can rotate it sideways and have it run this way with the plate. And then if it's more in storage or I'm using the front plate, I can rotate it. So easy access, basically. Now, with that whole easy access element, you're probably wondering, how do you rotate the printer? Because this sucker is pretty heavy. This box is not light. So in order to manage that, what I got was this. Basically, it's a bar stool swivel. It's kind of a heavy-duty bar stool swivel. Think of it as a heavy-duty Lazy Susan. This is what the printer is going to sit on inside the enclosure. That way I can rotate it successfully. This was also a suggestion I found on the Facebook group. So all of these links I will kind of leave with sort of a list in the description if you want any of them. Pretty much everything I get on Amazon because it's just easier and, you know, there are overlords, but you're certainly welcome to look for these in stores as well. And then this 3D printer case cover comes with a vent. It's got like a little vent thing, and then it actually has a mini fan inside it that can be turned on so that it can actually suck fumes out. So the fun part now is going to be assembling the little frame and then getting the machine out. So let's get some things moving. All right. I can do this. I can do this. I can. This sucker is heavy. All right. So that's the leg pieces. So these must be the long sides, and that's the short side as well as the top. So let's play around with some corners. I effectively built a giant box out of piping. All right, so let's get this cover on. Okay. So we got the front exposure, unzips all the way, and then there's a spot in the back for the power cord to go through. And now we just insert a giant box into a bag. So as you can see, it's a pretty secure cover. Like, this is dense, thick material. I'm not too worried about it tearing or ripping. It's got a hole, as you can see, in the back where I can run the extension cord. And then we've got a spot over here for the fan. So now I'm just going to set the fan up. I'm going to need a couple of parts. And of course the fan itself. Now let's attach the hose. Now, it does come with a light bar as well that will attach to one of the metal poles if you want to install it, but I opted to leave it out. I didn't really like it. And then another thing to attach would be a hygrometer, which goes into this little hole here. That way I can keep track of the humidity inside the box. I stuck the bar stool plate in the center. It'll be easy enough to rotate. And now we actually get to add the printer. So it's got a set of instructions here about what's in, as well as what is in the box. And then of course, lots and lots of plastic to peel off. Whew. Now, the printer comes with a box that contains all of your accessories, as well as the instructions for the quick start guide. And In this case, it has me removing that sheet I showed you and then taking out some protective foam, connecting it. It says the power indicator will turn green, and then it will have you install all of the cartridges, remove the 3 protective caps, push the filter into place, and then download to complete the initial setup. Since I don't have the ink at this point, I'm not going to be able to really get beyond step 3. I'll run my power cord, but I'll leave it unconnected just to make sure it's not drawing any unnecessary power. It also comes, as you can see, with your mat. That's the big one. What must be the print head bed with what appears to be a printing test sheet that they instruct you not to remove until you have successfully completed it. The box inside the machine comes with the flexi panel for the smaller of the plates, the power block, extension cord, goggles, air filter, and then what appear to be some ceramic magnets. You get 3 of them. Also appears to be an Allen key attached to the bottom of the box. Now, according to the instructions on the box, the power source is actually going to be on this side. And then taking stock of how much rotation and how long the cord is, and then decide how I'm going to run the power cord. It does seem like it'll be enough to run the power cord from the back into the box. So that is my plan, is I'm going to pull this out and run the power cord in through the back, and I should have plenty of rotational space. So now I have a nice, clean, safe solution for my EufyMake printer. And oh yeah, one final step. So now I have things set up to run with relatively as minimal fume as possible. Do I have ink to run things? No. But at least I've got things started and I'll be ready to go once the ink cartridge gets in place. And I'm looking forward to really testing the system. Like, I've seen some really cool stuff for people who have gotten their ink and things seem to be working pretty well. I've also seen some areas where people can be a little frustrated, I guess, in regards to the adhesive plates and of course making sure you keep those clean. I do have a Kickstarter project that I am going to be showing off here in the near future if I could just get ink. It is being made by the company WhamBam. They're launching a neat project that will kind of address some of the pain points with the machine. And they asked me if I was interested in testing. The only challenge is right now I don't have access to ink, so I can't test it. I might actually be one of the few people that's actually running into that problem where they have the product to test, but they don't have the ink for their machine. And that's partly because I didn't get this machine ahead of time. I, like the rest of you guys, backed the Kickstarter, paid for it. At the very least, you can trust me for an honest opinion on the Kickstarter once I can finally get it tested, once I finally get my ink. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys in terms of like wanting to try and set up a system that will contain the fumes. This is sort of part 1 to this video right now because I don't have the ink to test it to see how effective the ventilation system is at the moment. I think it will do a pretty good job. I mean, the container that I'm using is ultimately designed to house a 3D printer and contain all of the fumes from that, especially if you're printing something like ABS where you don't want to be breathing that in, or something where you're wanting to do temperature and humidity control. So I think this system is going to work pretty well. Be on the lookout for part 2 of this once my ink finally shows up. In the meantime, if you want to see more content like this, by all means, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. Also, if you could tap the like button and tell the Eldritch algorithm that this video was a good one, I would certainly appreciate it. In the meantime, here are some other videos with topics that I do that might be of interest for you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!